big news in the NFL. There's a few guys that haven't been signed yet, but Nick Bosa, no longer one of them, Rob, and he signs a deal that makes him, I mean, this is what happens when you get signed. If you're
it's relatively speaking, right?
Right. But he does sign the highest deal for a defensive player in the history of the NFL. 5 years.
Until next week.
$170 million. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because, and he gets $122.5 million guaranteed, Rob. Chris Jones, one of the other great defensive players who's not signed, of course, the defensive tackle with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the question I have for you now, reportedly, Jones is asking for more than Aaron Donald makes. Aaron Donald signed last year, $31 million on average. This, of course, Bosa, $34 million on average, somewhere thereabouts. So, Rob, the question is this. How do you think this impacts the Chris Jones situation? I mean, I'm looking at it like, okay, there are different positions, edge rusher for Bosa, and, tackle for Jones. So he may not compare the position, but does this make him less likely to go down from his $32 million asking price? You know what I mean?
I doubt it, because he's going to say the money's available.
Less likely. So you agree It makes him less likely. Yeah.
I don't think he caves now. He said, look, Nick Bosa held out, got his deal. Yep. I'm a holdout. I want the Chiefs to lose to the Lions in the first 2 games, Chris? And then they might come to the table. They might say, you know what? We can't afford to do this anymore. Like, what are we doing here? Like, pay this dude. So I'm just saying, and again, does he want his team to lose? No, Chris. But does he want better bargaining? Better bargaining is his team starts off in a hole, not they win 2 games without him. That's not a bar. That don't help you at all.
There's no doubt about that, and he's human.
Right, that's what I mean.
Say he's not hoping his team loses, but like you said, we've all been sitting there on the bench.
Chris, if I'm
and
on
the guy in front of you is playing great, and you wouldn't mind him missing a few shots.
Right.
Striking out here or there.
Bases loaded. Hey, I would have got up there. I would have at least made contact. You know what I'm saying? That's what you say to yourself. I would have at least made contact.
Hey, it's real. It's real out here. It's real out here in these NFL streets, y'all.
It's the same thing on the radio. You don't want the ratings to be better when you're off, Chris. Like,
how do you handle that when our ratings soar when you're on vacation?
Yeah, I don't know.
How do you handle that?
But you know what I'm saying.
But you're right. I mean, you want your show to do well, but I mean, you don't want it to be better. And it does, right. Exactly. It's like, wait, hold up a minute. They need to know I'm missed. Right. So, but here's the one I really wanted to get to, and this is what we'll throw out to the callers, Rob, the listeners. The one big deal outside of Jones, you got Brian Burns, but really Joe Burrow. And that's the one that we all thought, would be simple. He's a tremendous player. He's led Cincinnati. I mean, a team that was so bad that people were saying he shouldn't go there. And he goes there in the second year, they're in the Super Bowl.
And remember, he only played like 6 games his
first year, right?
Year. Right,
exactly.
It wasn't like he played a whole year.
7 games, I think.
Right.
But Lamar Jackson gets paid, Jalen Hurts gets paid, Justin Herbert gets paid. So it would seem like a simple deal to pay Joe Burrow, give him a little more than Justin Herbert.
50
and
cents,
we're done.
50 cents more and it's over.
Right. And so, but it hasn't happened for whatever reason. And look, I'll give credit, Rob, to Burrow and the Bengals. This hasn't been played out in the media. Neither side is leaking information. And to be honest, Burrow doesn't seem pressed. I don't know if he is or not, but he hasn't. There's no threat of not playing.
Well, I'll tell you this.
His body language seems good. And so it doesn't seem like a huge deal. We know at some point he's got to get paid. But do you think, are you surprised? And do you think it is a big deal that he's not? So
it is a big deal. And if I'm Joe Burrow, I am not playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not going out there. I've already been hurt, Chris. I'm hurt. And I'm going to go out there and do what? Rush back out there without a contract. Seriously. Cincinnati is great. We went to the Super Bowl. That's great. Hey, Dak went out there, Chris. We talked about it. He was fortunate the Cowboys came through. He still got paid. He still got paid, but he had a serious injury that could have been even worse. Right? When it first went down, we're like, oh, my God, this is why you don't put yourself in harm's way without getting a deal. And if I'm Joe Burrow coming off an injury-plagued, he's been hurt. He was hurt his rookie year, Chris.
Injury-plagued,
right. So why would you go out there without a deal? Mike Brown, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about that you're an independent owner and you don't have a corporation behind you. Are you an NFL owner? Do you have money to pay?
This is the price of being in the league.
This is the price. I can't help you. Then you should sell to somebody else. Sell out if you can't run this team anymore, or you can't keep up with the Joneses, as in Jerry Jones, and the other guys who are paying this kind of money. I can't help you here because if I get hurt, Chris, then they'll be like, well, you'll get whatever is left on the contract, but then that'll be it. That's it. We can't help you.
What you're saying makes all the sense in the world. I have to be honest, I haven't really thought about he should sit out. Some of that might be the selfish fan in me, right?
I want to see him play too. Yeah. I agree. I want to see him play.
I don't want him to sit out. I want him to play. But for him, look, I'm thinking, and I get it, Rob. And I don't want to act like these other players aren't ballers, right? But I do think that Joe Burrow, he clearly, because Rob, you're making sense. If he was to say, I'm not playing, simple as that, no, I got to sign this deal. What are we waiting for?
Right. What's the
hold up? Got paid. What's the problem? Now, I don't know if he's asking for fully guaranteed money. I don't know how much more he's asking than Justin Herbert. Is he asking for $300 million? I don't know. Or are the Bengals saying, hey, you said or I don't know if Burrow said it or not, but they've thrown out there that, hey, you might want to take a discount. Burrow may have implied that he was willing.
Discount and all that.
So are they offering $240? Are they offering something low? I mean, relatively speaking. So we don't know. As much as I respect them not leaking stuff,
right? We don't know the details,
so it's harder to discuss. But I think Rob, Joe, I'm just going off his body language and what he's doing.
Right, I hear you.
He just seems to be like, man, I just want to play, and I get it. Obviously, going to get paid at some point. But you're right, the risk, especially for him because he has been hurt, it's a big risk.
It's a huge risk. And Chris, here's the other thing. Do you remember when his coach came out and said, oh, this had nothing to do with a holdout or his contract? His contract is the term that he used. Remember that?
Right.
That told you something. Nobody asked him about that. Like him being out, oh, this has nothing to do with his contract.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
because there might be something to it, and he kind of put it out there that he was trying to squash it before I guess anybody said something, but you got to start to wonder.
Well, where you're right, Rob, is, again, if he held out, I think he'd get paid in short order.
Oh, 100%.
Because not only, it's just you got a chance to win a Super Bowl. This is not every day in Cincinnati, right? They not the Patriots coming off a great run with Tom Brady. For them to win a Super Bowl would be huge. You finally have that guy. And now you're not gonna pay him when this is the price of doing business, and
right?
It's not like he's asking for something crazy. Even if he's asking for fully guaranteed, guess what? Your neighbors upstate in the northern part of Ohio, Cleveland, their quarterback's making fully guaranteed money. So 100%. It's not like he's even asking for something crazy. And Rob, also Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all of these players, I really believe. I don't know if they'd say anything publicly. But I think somehow they would let it be known we're not happy.
Right.
What are we doing?
This
guy's got to get paid.
He's got to get paid, and the longer you wait, Chris, we always talk about
it's going to be more, right?
It's going to be more. It doesn't go down. It doesn't become cheaper. and make that guy happy. He's done everything to change your organization. And don't forget, okay, they did lose, right? They did lose to the Chiefs who won the Super Bowl. Of course, they lost by 3 points, and he didn't have a great game.
And it was a controversial call.
Am I right?
I'm not saying it wasn't a good call, but it was.
But
controversial.
it wasn't it wasn't like
Mahomes got pushed out of bounds, right? Then they kicked a field goal.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
I mean, let's just be honest. They weren't that far away from him beating the Chiefs again and going to another Super Bowl. That's how close they were.
They're 3-1 against the Chiefs in Burrow's tenure.
Right.
So that's the best team in
and
the world.
And the one loss was by 3 points.
And they're right there. Absolutely. So